Good morning, student. Students, as you know, in our last lecture, we discussed with you the effect of pressure on the solubility of a gas in liquid. And I told you that was governed by the Henry's law, in which the solubility of a gas in gram mole per liter was directly proportional to the pressure of the gas applied, or the mole fraction of a gas was directly proportional to the pressure of the gas over the solution. We did the two relationship with you, S1 upon S2 is equal to P1 upon P2, and another relationship that pressure of a gas was equal to the Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction. Before proceeding ahead, we will do certain numerical problem based on the Henry's law today. And the first numerical problem is, if a nitrogen gas is bubbled through water at 293 Kelvin, just see, nitrogen gas is bubbled through water. So, it is a solubility of a gas in liquid. How many millimoles of nitrogen gas would dissolve in 1 liter of water? So, if nitrogen gas is dissolved in a water, how many millimoles of nitrogen will dissolve in water? I mean to say, I have to find out the millimoles of nitrogen in water, in 1 liter of water, assuming that nitrogen exerts a partial pressure of 0.987 bar. So, what is the partial pressure of nitrogen? 0.987 bar. And the Henry's law given at 293 Kelvin is 76.48 K bar. Fine. Now, the partial pressure of nitrogen is given and the Henry's law constant is given. The question is, how many millimoles are dissolved? Now, the number of millimoles will be calculated from the mole fraction. Just see from the Henry's law. What is the formula? Partial pressure of nitrogen will be equal to the Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction of nitrogen. So, partial pressure of nitrogen will be equal to the Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction of nitrogen. How will we find out the mole fraction of nitrogen? It will be equal to the partial pressure of nitrogen upon Henry's law constant. Fine. What is the partial pressure of nitrogen? 0.987. What is the Henry's law constant? The value is given as 76.48 kilobar. Converting into bar, it will be multiplied by 10 raised to power 3. So, what value will be obtained? 1.29 into 10 raised to power minus 5. So much is the mole fraction of nitrogen gas in this. Now, what is to be done? We have to find out the number of millimoles of nitrogen. How will we calculate? Xn2 will be equal to, what is the mole fraction of nitrogen? Number of moles of nitrogen divided by the total number of moles in the solution. Now, number of moles of water in 1 liter is 55.5. How do we find out the number of moles of water? This is mass of water will be 1000 upon 18. So, number of moles of water we have find out by the relationship, this will be equal to 1000 upon 18, and this value comes to be equal to 55.5. Number of millimoles of nitrogen is to be determined. Mole fraction of nitrogen, we have the value over here as 1.29 into 10 raised to power minus 5, and number of moles of water will be 55.5. Putting up all the values over here, mole fraction of nitrogen is 1.29 into 10 raised to power minus 5. Number of moles of nitrogen we have to find out. Number of moles of water will be 55.5. On solving it out, the number of moles of nitrogen will come out to be equal to 0.716 millimole. Am I clear? So, what was the question, student? Nitrogen is dissolved in water. The question was, how many millimoles of a nitrogen is to be dissolved? To find out the number of millimoles of nitrogen, we apply the formula. Mole fraction of nitrogen will be equal to number of moles of nitrogen to the total number of moles in the solution. Number of mole of nitrogen is to be determined in 1 liter of the solution. Mole fraction of nitrogen we do not have, but we are given with the partial pressure of nitrogen and the Henry's law constant. So, we apply the Henry's law formula that the partial pressure of nitrogen will be equal to the Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction. Mole fraction of nitrogen over here comes to be equal to partial pressure of nitrogen upon Henry's law constant. Am I clear? Solving it out, we obtain the mole fraction of nitrogen, then we find out the number of millimoles of nitrogen. So, these kind of a numerical problem are very common, and these are the problems which do not require very much of a calculation. When you will be appearing for the multiple choice question examination, they may ask you what is the formula for partial law of nitrogen as per the Henry's law. Formula will be Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction. Then what will be the mole fraction formula? They may ask you to do this. They may also ask you to solve the numerical problem. Is it clear? So I think the first numerical problem is clearing much about the concept of a solubility of a gas in liquid. And here, how many millimoles of a nitrogen is dissolved in 1 liter of a solution? It will be 0.716 mole. Is it clear, student? Now look at the question number 2. Question number 2 is again very important. The hydrogen sulfide gas, a toxic gas with rotten egg-like smell. We have a H2S gas. It's a toxic gas and have a smell of a rotten egg-like. Is used for qualitative analysis. If the solubility of this in water at STP is 0.195 molal, just see over here 0.195 molal, calculate the Henry's law constant. To find out the Henry's law constant, we have a partial pressure of a gas will be equal to Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction of the gas. Now in the question, the mole fraction is not given, but the molality of the solution is given. And we know mole fraction of solvent and solute, this will be equal to 1. So we have a relationship between the mole fraction and the mole fraction of a solute and the molality of the solution. Very important relationship you have been studying from the class 11, and I have been emphasizing this formula too much in my discussions. Molality will be equal to xb into 1000 upon 1 minus xb into the molecular mass of the solute. If you solve it up, what is the molality of the solution? 0.195. Mole fraction of the solute is to be found out, and this will be equal to 1 minus Xa, which is the mole fraction of a solvent. So formula is mole fraction of solute upon mole fraction of solvent into 1000 upon 18. The value of xb in the question is given it to us. It is given as 0. This value of xb is to be found out over here. So if we solve this value, the value of xb will come out to be equal to 0.0035. So we have find out the mole fraction of a solute over here. And what is the solute over here? Hydrogen sulfide gas. Is it clear? So you must remember the formula of a relationship between the molality and mole fraction. Molality will be equal to xb into 1000 upon 1 minus xb into molar mass of a solvent. On solving it out, the value of xb will be equal to 0.0035. Yes. Now from here we can find out the Henry's law constant value. The formula will be pressure of a gas will be equal to Henry's law constant multiplied by the mole fraction. So Henry's law constant in this case will be equal to 0.987 upon 0.0035. On solving it out, it will come out to be equal to 282 bar. Is it clear? Just read the question again. H2S gas, a toxic gas with a rotten egg-like smell, is used for qualitative analysis. If the solubility of this in water at STP is so much molal, calculate the Henry's law constant. So by using this relationship, we have find out the mole fraction. By using this relationship, that is partial pressure will be equal to Henry's law constant into mole fraction. Mole fraction we have obtained. This is given to us in the question. Henry's law constant can be easily found out. Am I getting clear, student? Yes or not? So this is how it is to be done over here. Now look at the question number 3. In the question number 3, it is given the partial pressure of ethane over solution containing 6.56 into 10 raised to power minus 2 gram of ethane is 1 bar. The partial pressure of ethane is 1 bar and amount of a substance in this case will be 6.56 into 10 raised to power minus 2 gram. The question is, if the solution contain 5 into 10 raised to power minus 2 gram of ethane, what shall be the partial pressure of a gas? We all know solubility of a gas is directly proportional to the partial pressure of a gas, and the relationship is S1 upon S2 will be equal to P1 upon P2. The solubility of a gas is given. It is given as 6.56 into 10 raised to power minus 2. Similarly, the solubility of another gas is given. If the solution contains this ethane, this will be equal to solubility of this 5 into 10 raised to power minus 2. The partial pressure over here is 1. The partial pressure P2 is to be calculated when the solubility is this. So formula will be S1 upon S2 is equal to P1 upon P2. 3 of the data are given to us. We can easily find out the pressure over here, which comes out to be equal to 0.762 bar. I think this numerical problem on the Henry's law must be very, very clear to you. This now completes the first type of a solution, which is a solution of a gas in liquid. I have already discussed the solution of a gas, solubility of a gas in liquid depends upon the nature of solute. It depends upon the nature of solute. It also depends upon the effect of pressure. It also depends upon the effect of temperature. I think this must be very, very clear to you over here. Fine. Now student, after the discussion of solution of gas in liquid, next type of a solution is, that will be discussed in chapter in detail will be solution of liquid in liquid. Now when I say second type of a solution is the solution of liquid in liquid. Solution of liquid in liquid. Solution of liquid in liquid. Students, when we talk about the liquid solution, this can either be immiscible liquids, so or the miscible liquids, or the partially miscible liquid. Fine. So when two liquids are mixed, or we must say when liquid is dissolved in liquid, when one liquid is mixed with another liquid, what do we get? When liquid is mixed with another liquid. When liquid is mixed with another liquid, there are three possibilities. Either the liquid obtained will be the immiscible liquid. There are three possibilities. Either the liquid obtained, it will be immiscible liquid. Or this will be partially miscible liquid. Partially miscible liquid. Or we may have a miscible liquid. When one liquid is dissolved in another liquid, the liquid may be immiscible liquid. As far as immiscible liquids are concerned, the polar and non-polar liquids are immiscible in nature. Am I clear? So immiscible liquids are polar and non-polar liquid. They are polar and non-polar liquid. As for example, polar is water and non-polar liquid, you may take an example like hexane. Fine. So like water and hexane. Example over here can be like water and hexane. These are immiscible liquid. Now we have a partially miscible liquid. As far as the partially miscible liquids are concerned, the liquids which dissolve partially, these are called as a partially miscible liquid. We may take many examples like phenol and water. Example can be like phenol and water. Phenol and water. They are the partially miscible liquid. Fine. Then the miscible liquid. The liquids which get completely miscible or which can get completely dissolved into each other, those liquids are called as a miscible liquid. As for example, if you take methyl alcohol and water, this methyl alcohol and water get completely miscible with each other. And what type of force will operate in this? It is due to hydrogen bonding. This is due to hydrogen bonding. Am I clear? Then we may take the two liquids, these are the two liquids with the polar groups. These are two liquids with polar groups. Two liquids with polar groups. Am I clear, student? In this case, the possibility may be either due to the hydrogen bonding. Similarly, we may take formic acid in water. We may take ethylene glycol in water. So, all these are completely miscible liquids. Apart from that, two liquids with the non-polar groups can also be soluble to each other. In that case, the force will be London force. So, another case can be two liquid with non-polar groups. With non-polar groups are soluble. Fine. Here, the force which will be binding them will be called as a London force. The force which bind them together will be called as a London force of attraction. Example, normal hexane and normal octane. Normal hexane and normal octane. And third will be the two liquids with polar molecules. Two liquids with polar molecules. They can be two liquids with polar molecules. With polar molecules. Here, the force of attraction will be dipole-dipole force. The force of attraction in this case will be dipole-dipole force of attraction. The force of attraction is a dipole-dipole force of attraction. As for example, we may take ethane nitrile and acetone, etc. They are completely miscible liquid. So, wherever we have opposite dipoles, they may be soluble in each other. For example, methyl cyanide and acetone. So, here the dipole will be created and it will be soluble. So, student, our next discussion will be based on the solution of liquid in liquid. Am I clear? Solution of liquid in liquid will either be immiscible liquids or partially miscible liquid or the miscible liquid. Similarly, we may have the solution of solid in liquid also. Third type of a solution will be solution of solid in liquid. Solution of solid in liquid. We have to discuss only three types of a solution. Regarding the solution of solid in liquid, it depends on the nature of solute, nature of solvent and temperature. So, it depends on three factors. It depends on, number one is nature of solute. Nature of solute. And second will be nature of solvent. Nature of solvent. And third factor will be the temperature. Next over here will be the factor which will be a temperature factor. Regarding the nature of solute, ionic solid dissolves in the, I must say, ionic solid dissolves in the polar solvent. If we take non-ionic solute, non-ionic solid may dissolve in polar solvent or may dissolve in the non-polar solvent, depending on the interactive force of attraction. Fine. These are very simple concepts. Ionic compound dissolves in the ionic solvent as the like, and non-ionic compound may dissolve in ionic solvent, that is a polar solvent, as well as a non-polar solvent. When I say they dissolve in the polar solvent, they may be due to the dipole forces or may be due to the other forces. When they dissolve in the non-polar solvent, then normally the forces of attraction are the London forces. Regarding the effect of temperature, for exothermic reaction, solubility will be directly proportional, inversely proportional to temperature. For endothermic reaction, it will be directly proportional to temperature. For endothermic reaction, for endothermic reaction. Here in this case also, solubility is directly proportional to temperature. For exothermic reaction, if you consider over here the exothermic reaction, for exothermic reaction, solubility will be inversely proportional to temperature. Solubility will be inversely proportional to temperature. Is it clear? One type of a solution we have discussed in detail. In our next lecture, students may discuss how to express the concentration of a solution, and then I'll again come back to these two types of a solution. Solution of a liquid in liquid and solution of a solid in liquid. And with that, then we will complete that chapter. Am I getting clear? So in our next lecture, student, we will be discussing the various ways of expression of a concentration of a solution. Then we will be discussing the solution of a liquid in liquid. I hope you must have been revising your work. We'll meet again in the next lecture. Till then, thank you.